Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. I want to make a video this morning. I'm going to replace the cable on my ATV winch. I use it occasionally. I probably use it for things that I probably shouldn't be using it for, but it needs replaced. It's kinking up real bad in a few spots, and towards the front end it has a spot that's frayed pretty bad. We'll show you that here in just a second. But I bought a replacement cable from Harbor Freight. It's part of their Badland system, which is they make the winches that Harbor Freight sells and all the accessories. So the cable that is existing on it is a steel cable, and it's a 3/16 cable, and this is a 3/16 synthetic rope, which it's a little bit wider than 3/16, but it should work. Comes with a clevis, which I'm going to replace with the existing clevis. I upgraded the clevis on it a few years ago. Harbor Freight, if you're watching, it did not come with the red safety pull tag that's supposed to be in the box. Was not. I'm not going to take it back just for that. I kind of made a cobra weave that'll work just fine. High visibility, gives me something to hold on to. I'll hang that from the clevis. So let's go pull the old one off and try to get this thing on. I thought about, you'll see the fray here in just a second. I'm going to unlock on this winch. There's an unlock in there. So it's kinked up pretty good. There's the fray. And I thought about cutting the cable here, but I don't have a crimp for this, and I don't think I'd ever get it back as good to what it was. Even with like some cable clamps, they wouldn't be able to slide up in there, so it'd always be kind of hanging loose. And then if it ever popped free, like that could be dangerous. So we're just gonna go back with something new. So I'm going to pull all this length out, and we'll try to get the other one on. There is a kink in there on the cable. It's going to be almost impossible for me to film this. There we go. I wouldn't say the cable is in bad shape, but it has definitely been on there for so long. It's almost like fishing line that's been on a reel for too long. It's just coiled up and formed the shape of the twist of this. So here is the big question, is can I get this out without having to take the whole, I probably jinxed myself. I don't know that I can get this cable out. It took me a second to figure this out. This direction of the spool was facing away from me, so I couldn't see it. So I had to turn the spool to face towards me so I could see what the problem was. Finally figured it out. Hopefully you can see this, but the cable is coming out, or coming in to the spool on the top right. There is a set screw, and then you can kind of see down here, the cable comes out of the spool down there at the bottom. So I need to get an Allen wrench on that set screw, which looks tiny, and it's in a hard place. So we're going to work on that. It's going to be hard to film. Let you know how it goes. set screw actually came out pretty easy. It was a 2.5 millimeter for what it's worth on this. I'm recording this with my phone. GoPro, if you're watching this, I've had such bad luck with my GoPros. The batteries are just terrible. And then the speakers pop real loud all the time for some reason. Super strange. All right, that came out. Wow. So far, so good. I don't want to jinx myself. Let's get the new cable and see what happens. So the direction that it was sitting there, top to bottom. Let's see if we can do the same. This is going to be terribly difficult to record, but this is the very distal end, the very far end of the synthetic rope. So let's see if that will slide down in the existing hole in the spool. If it doesn't, then I'm going to have to take the spool apart, maybe drill a new hole or something. We'll have to see. It's not going to go. I don't want to take that rubber coating. That rubber coating might be what is holding it back, but the set screw, I also feel like the set screw needs something to grab a hold of, so that rubber thing, that rubber sheath needs to stay. Yeah, I don't think in a million years that's going to go. So what do I do? Bear with me while I'm thinking for a second. I'll get back with you. Hang on. I don't really want to take this winch out, but I'm going to do it. And that will actually give me the opportunity to clean up these roller leads a little bit at the same time, which they need a little TLC also. So we're going to pull, I'm not going to film all this, but I'm going to pull out the winch on the mount, and at the same time that will release this roller lead also. So we'll do a little fast forward action here and get this thing out. I think I might upgrade that bolt. I've actually had to take all this off before. A few years ago I had to replace the radiator on this, and it was a nightmare. They put the shroud on this thing so tight, it is impossible to get in there and do anything. All right, roller leads off, bracket's loose, but I think I'm gonna have to pull that shroud down. The hits keep coming. You know what, if I pull that shroud down, I'm gonna cut part of that shroud off. That's just ridiculous how that thing sticks out like that. Completely unnecessary. So after an almost 30-minute battle, I got the winch out and the roller leads out. Take you out here real quick. There is the plate, which doesn't necessarily have to come out, but it was really hard to get to the mounting bolts that are on the bottom of the plate. It's almost impossible to get underneath there. There's only like a smidge of room to work with, so I had to take the shroud off, which is absolutely ridiculous. And to get the shroud off, I had to take the bumper or the push guard off. So I'm not exactly sure what all I'm going to put back on. I'm obviously going to put the bumper on, but I might try to modify that shroud whenever I put it back on, so I don't have to put everything back on. Anyway, let's get back in here and see what we can do about getting this. So the plan is, hang on just a second. If I would have went back with the steel cable that I took out, I might not have to have done this, but since I'm going with this synthetic rope, even though it is a 3/16, just like what the cable is that I took out, there's no way in the world I was going to get that in there. But it's not going to take much, and I'm pretty sure this is aluminum. So I am going to drill out that hole just a tiny bit. I'm going to leave this on because that's probably where I will put the set screw back into that to hold on to the rope. Alright, the other thing too is this is spinning, but if I lock the spool, it locks it nice vertical position where I can drill that out. Alright, let's get to find the right drill bit for that and get that cut out. So for all of you out there that's questioning what I'm doing, whether it's necessary or not, this is 3/16 rope. Won't go in there, especially with this little bit of rubber coating on there. This is a 15/16 drill bit. It won't go in there. So I'm going to clean it out with this, and then I will probably bump up another 64th and then clean it out again and see if we can get it to slide. So let's try this one first, see what happens. I don't want to make it too large, so I'm going to bump up by a 64th its size and drill bit until we get to the right size. Pretty simple. It's aluminum. Still no way. Alright, so one bump up from 15/64 to the next one is 1/4. I'm hoping this does it. Oh, so very close. I don't want to put any grease or anything on it because that'll help it pull out even easier. So we're going to go up one more, see what happens. Hopefully that does it. So this is 17/64. Man, so close. So very close. Alright, I didn't want to go anymore, but I'm going to go one size more. 9/32. Alright, that's it. Perfect. Perfect fit. Little bit of resistance pushing it through, but it goes. Okay. So I think everything else on here I'm not going to mess with. But I am going to take this roller lead apart and get it cleaned up, and then I'll bring you back when we start putting everything back together. Pretty boring. See you in a second. Okay, so I got the roller leads cleaned up, a little bit of wire wheel, a little bit of fine grit sandpaper. I put a tiny bit, when I put them back together, I put a tiny bit of grease on the inside. Not very much, just a tiny bit. It's got them all rolling pretty good. I was going to put a little bit of light oil on the rollers, but anything that you put on here attracts dust. Any type of lubricant like that, if you're in a dusty environment, you're just gonna have dust all over these things. So I think smoothing them up with a wheel did a good enough job. We're just gonna go with it. Before I put this thing back in, I just kind of want to show This is the winch that came, this is a Can Am four-wheeler, and this is the winch that came with it factory. So before I go too far, one of the eye connectors on the cable that runs to one of the leads on the winch is about to break. Probably pretty hard to see, but it's about to break. So I'm going to replace that, get that replaced, and we'll get everything put back in. The nut is lost forever. It is it's absolutely ridiculous. I don't know why they make some of these things so difficult. It's the same way with vehicles, automotive stuff too. It's just absolutely ridiculous how difficult they make to access some of this stuff. I try to film this the best I can so you can see what I'm doing. Feeding it through the fair leads. Staying with inside these support brackets. Slide it down through my new hole. The directions, which I actually did read, say that you're supposed to push it through an inch. I don't know if I agree with that because that will stick out quite a bit. I'm gonna go about halfway. All right, so I put the set screw back in. I'll tighten it. There's no way that I could have got that in without making that hole larger. So now the set screw is just a little bit under flush and it's pretty tight. So we're gonna stop there. All right. Let's see what we can do if I can reach this and hold on to that at the same time. So my coil's already full, but I think it's because of that protective shroud. I might have to cut that protective shroud off and see if that gives it. I actually think that this cable, which it says is 50 feet, I think, is longer than my other one. Well, we're gonna pull it back out. I'm gonna cut that shroud off because that will never work. I didn't do a very good job of explaining that, but the drum or the spool was already full, and there was still half of the cable left to go. So I only got half of it on there. I had to take that sheath off, and we're gonna try to get it back on there without the sheath on and try to get the majority of the cable on and see what happens. So I'm back up at the lead, and man, I am almost maxed out. There's no way. There's a protective shroud on this thing. I think I might leave it. There's probably 10 foot of it on here, at least 8. I'll probably cut it back to like the last 2-3 foot, but there's no way that it's all gonna fit in there. The sucker's about maxed out. Not a lot of room left. I think if I had been pulling with some weight, it would kind of flatten and make the rope a little thinner. If I can't get it on there, that might be the only other option. Let's cut this off down to just a couple feet. For comparison's sake, these are the two new, old, 3/16. Well, we got it done. Got the cable on there. A few modifications. As you guys noted, the main thing being that the end of the rope was just too big to go through that spool hole. So it took me about 3 hours to do this, just because I had to take all that stuff apart. If I wouldn't have had to take all that stuff apart and drill that hole out, it would not have taken me so long to do it. But that also allowed me to clean up the rollers, which is definitely better. And if I have to ever take this thing apart, I made some modifications on that shroud, that black shroud plastic stuff, which makes it easier to access some of the bolts. Plus it revealed that wire on the motor that was starting to go bad. It would have cracked eventually, so that's good that I got that fixed. But time will tell now. Just need to go out and test it, but not gonna happen in this video. There'll be plenty of instances coming up, doing a few things so we can test it out, see how it works. But there we go. Appreciate you guys watching. If you would, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment if you'd like. Let me know what you thought, and if there was anything different that you would have done. And share the video if you like, and I'll see you on the next one. Have a good day. See you guys.